Hey everyone. Hey. So let's get started. We'll introductions. I'm Bri Rhea. I'll be the teacher for today's class. Welcome back for those of you that I recognize and that I see again. As always, I like to start my classes with these kinds of introductions just to make sure that you know to listen to your body. The cues that I'll be giving you are, cues to guide you through the movement. So let them be exactly that. They're optional cues to help you explore the movement.
So as we are moving, you may also see me coming back and forth between my chair and the computer. That's just to let people in on the class so everybody can get a little slice of the pie. For class today, you will need a pillow and of course something to sit on. So if you are sitting on a couch, that's fine. If you're sitting on a stool like I am, that's great too, or a chair, whatever works best for you. So the other thing that I'd like for you to know, a pillow is not absolutely necessary. You can totally use a sweatshirt or a rolled up towel, even rolled up sweatpants. But these movements that we're going to be moving through are movements that you need to connect the mind to the body with. And that's why Pilates is so great for those of us with MS. So we want to make sure that the movement, we're not just flopping ourselves around, but instead you're moving through, imagine through honey or quicksand, but something that you are creating your own sort of resistance against as you lower your hand and as you lift your hand. So make sure that you have your pillow, listen to your body, have some water nearby, and just a reminder that this is a recorded video and it'll be up on YouTube for you to go back and practice these moves that we'll do. If you have any questions, submit them in the chat box and I'll answer them as we go. So grab your pillow and let's place it between your thighs. You can kind of fold it like a little taco, and squeezing it between the thighs there allows us to get a little bit of feedback so that we know that we're using our inner thigh muscles, our adductors. And just letting the hands rest onto the lap, we're going to start with some big breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. You may start to notice that as you breathe in and out, that maybe the shoulders come up and down. Okay, so if that's happening, that's great. Notice that. But as you're breathing, I want you to try to notice, or maybe can you start to breathe into the lower part of your lungs, into your belly, into your back space, so that each inhale helps you not only to expand in one direction and the other, but also in one direction as well as the other, up and down, side to side, front to back. And as you exhale, try to keep that length or that extension or that expansion of the body as you try to then pull the navel in towards the spine. You can also try to squeeze the legs together like you're trying to get the knees to touch. And you may start to feel how the muscles of the core or those protecting spine muscles are starting to engage. Okay, so while I'm talking, let this be a chance for you to continue to practice your breath. Okay, the cues that I give you are not for you to just listen to, but for us to move through it and to experiment with the inhale and with that exhale as you squeeze the knees together, pulling the belly button to the spine, wrapping the ribs around the waistline, and then repeating it about 3 more times. Inhale and exhale. We want to make sure that we are taking in as much breath as we can and letting out as much breath as you can. Let's try that one more time. Inhale. And then as you exhale, keep those knees squeezing together with your hands resting onto your knees. Make sure that those legs are still actively trying to pull together. As you inhale now, pull the heart forward and bring the gaze to look up and away. And then as you exhale, tuck the chin, look down into your lap, pulling the belly button into the spine. And then as you inhale, repeat the process. Inhale, pull the chest forward, maybe even pulling up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, rounding through the spine and feeling as if you're trying to pull the ribs up away from the hips. And if it looks like I'm moving pretty slow, that's because I'm doing it on purpose. I'm trying to breathe in as much air as possible and breathe out as much air as possible. 2 more times with these cat and cows. Still squeezing in on that pillow. between the thighs the entire time. One more time. Inhale, pull the chest forward, pull the shoulders back, and then as you exhale, round the shoulders forward and imagine that there's a fish hook pulling your belly button back behind you. And then inhale, stack the spine tall. All right, so what we're doing is we're helping to warm up the spine, okay? And so making sure that the spine is ready to move. So now our hands go down by our side, still giving that pillow a gentle little squeeze. And then as your side bending, let's say right arm is going down to the ground, and the left arm is just kind of along for the ride, maybe sliding up the body. And then as you bring yourself back up again, you're using those muscles on the side of the body to pull yourself up. Try to inhale down as you go, expanding the right side of the body, and then exhale to lift back up. Inhale, lowering down. And then as you exhale, pull the navel to the spine, try to stack the spine up taller, and then repeat. We'll do that one more time on each side after this. So one more to the right. Exhale and lift. And then one more to the left. And exhale, lift. Okay, so now you may feel a little bit more expansion between those hips and ribs. So literally imagining if you had suspenders between the hip points in the front and the rib points on the side, or on the front as well, but you're trying to expand that side of the body. So now can you try to think about the hips and the ribs crossing the body, making an X shape as we start with our rotation. So now keeping that pillow right where it is, making sure that it's not going to slide with our legs. We don't want to move the legs, but instead now sliding the hands up the legs and rotating the body to the right on your exhale. Inhale to come back forward, sliding the hands past each other, and then rotating to the left. As the left hand goes back, the right hand goes forward. Inhale, back center, and exhale to twist. Try to keep contact with your hands onto the thighs or onto the body for as long as you can, and making sure that those points of contact are basically like helping you to push against yourself into this rotation. Remember, we want to create those oppositional like energy, that tension in our muscles as we're moving, so that it feels like we're moving against quicksand, that we're moving through honey. Now I want you to start to reach the arm that comes back behind you, reach it back behind you, and then pull it back in, slide it down the leg, and switch to the other side. Exhaling the whole time you twist to the left, and then inhaling, bringing it back through center, and repeating that 3 more times each way. As you're reaching back, can you think about like a string pulling the top of your head up towards the ceiling, and like your body is like a carousel, okay? Like at a carnival, a carousel. So if your spine was the pole in the middle of that carousel, you don't want that pole to move, you want the body to move around it. Last one to the left. And then as you bring yourself back forward, go ahead and place your hands back onto the hands and knees. You can release that pillow if you need to give your legs a little break, but cat and cowing through the spine a couple times there, and making sure that maybe if any tension started to arrive, that you're really starting to move through that tension. If you feel anything in your low back, one way to release that tension is to like lean forward and feel that space between ribs and hips on the back side opening up. So that would be your cat spine. And then as you inhale, if you felt any sort of tension in the front of the body, that'd be your pull the shoulders back, you open the chest and look up. Okay, so think about like understanding how your body moves is like the next piece to movement. Like when you're moving through your day, when you're moving through these classes, or when you're repeating these exercises, understanding why you're doing these movements is the next level, the next step to understanding, okay, like how can I fix these daily activities so I don't have any pain anymore, okay? So now let's go ahead and place the pillow. You're gonna bring it underneath of your right arm and create it like get it up in there, okay? And so now what we've done is we've created a little bit of a, hey, can you hear me okay? Okay. So what you're doing is creating a little bit more of a obstacle to rotate, or not to rotate, but to side bend over. So with your left hand on your heart, you want to think about your left elbow reaching up towards the ceiling into more of that side bending position. Inhale to lift back up with your left hip staying down onto the chair. Exhale over to the right side and feel how that pillow kind of pushes up against you. So you kind of want it stuck onto the hip there as you're side bending 2 more times to the right, opening up that left side of the body. And maybe on this last one, can you reach the arm up all the way overhead for even more of a stretch and even more of a strength. If that felt good, try that for 3 more times as we all get set up for the other side. Okay, so now you can bring that pillow over to the left, under the left arm. Right hand stays onto the chest, and that left hand is just kind of hanging out, or it can kind of tuck underneath of that pillow to keep it in place. As you inhale, sit the spine up tall, and then as you exhale, that wing of a right arm comes down to the side, and I want you to feel how that right hip stays anchored onto the chair, and you're trying to pull the right rib cage away from the right hip. As you repeat that 3 more times, you're really trying to open that space and bring it back to center. 2 more times. Inhale, lift, and then on this last one, try to feel the difference now if you reach that arm all the way up overhead. So not only is it harder to keep that hip down, but you're also getting a more intense stretch, and then pull back towards center. Oh, that feels so good. Now I feel like I can breathe a little better. Sorry, just bringing more people in to the class. Alrighty, so let's place that pillow just for a moment here onto your lap. We're gonna roll out those wrists. So think about like, I think I used this analogy in my last class, but as if you were like a witch trying to like cast some spells on people, or maybe you just got your nails did and you're just trying to show them off. You got some rings on your fingers, whatever you want to think about, rolling those wrists out, showing off whatever's on your wrist or fingers, whatever. Okay, so now taking the fingertips up towards the ceiling, like, oh, they're wet. I don't want to get them too pulling the fingertips back. Sorry. Sometimes like the things that come to my mind are just, I guess sometimes they make me laugh. And then from there, pulling the fingertips down and pushing your palm forward to help open up that forearm there. Good. And then fingertips down towards the ground, pulling back again, opening up that top part of your wrist. And then pulling the fingertips up, pushing the palm forward as you pull back. And of course, pulling back, if that's too intense, you can just like practice pulling that hand back. You don't have to like force anything. Now switch it to the other side. So palm towards the face, fingertips up, pull back. Feel that front of the wrist, or I guess in this case, the back of the wrist opening up. Pull the fingertips down, push the palm forward, getting all of that stretch up the arm, and then from there, palm forward, fingers up, pulling back. Yes. And then from there, fingers down, palm in. Okay. Give yourself some more of those wrist rolls, opening up more of that space there. And then moving our way down to the ankle. So even with that pillow resting onto your thighs here, let the hands and arms rest onto the pillow to give ourselves some resistance. So starting to lift both ankles if you can. If not, use all of your effort to try to get them to lift. Okay, so if say like just the right side is the only one lifting, just still try to envision the left side lifting the heel up away from the mat. Okay. While all of this is happening, can you still maintain a nice long, tall spine position? So if you are sitting up against, like if your chair has a back, can you pull yourself away from the back of the chair and maintain nice, long, tall spine position? Your tailbone is heavy into the ground, or into your chair. Your navel is being pulled in towards the belly button, just like this cardigan that I'm wearing, as if somebody were trying to tighter. Then as you're inhaling, you're trying to lift taller while those heels are still lifting and lowering, just getting that nice little burn at the bottom of our legs there. And now we're going to start to bring a little bit of brain teaser into it. So one heel is going to lift and then the other. So now that pillow looks like it's like going off road here. Okay. So trying to alternate one heel and the next. And to make it more resistance for yourself, you're pushing the hand down into the pillow to give yourself almost like a strength training, like it's going to feel pretty heavy. if you're putting whatever amount of resistance that you can handle into that pillow. Okay, now from there, we're going to leave one heel lifted and start to try to pull that toe off of the ground and just tap the toe onto the mat. If that pillow, if you're pushing it down and that feels like too much, just move that pillow out of the way. Okay, and try for 4 more. Lifting that leg up, 2, and then 1. Then place that pillow, if it's off the leg, back down, switch to the other heel lifted. Maybe move that pillow out of the way if you need to. Otherwise, give yourself that little bit of resistance by pushing down into it and then lifting that leg up. Okay, and so here's a little trick, is that if you're ever doing an exercise or a workout or a pose where we have to do one side or the other, try this for 3 more on this side. Try to do your stronger side first, so that the neurological pathways from right side to left side can tell the body, okay, this is how it's done, watch and then do, watch and then do. So then when you get to your more challenged side, say my right side is my stronger side, my left side is my more challenged side, I'm always gonna do my right side first, okay? So if I'm cueing you to do your left side first, just know, no, but my right side's stronger. And that's when you know which side works best for you. So this is how you can make it more of a unique or a pre-programmed class for you, for your body, what works best for you. Alrighty, so now from here, just place that pillow off to the side, rolling out our ankles. If you want to, you can grab behind the leg and kind of like lean back to lift it off of the ground to give yourself that space to roll out the ankles in one direction and the next. And then from there, if you are holding that leg, if you're not, like the ankle, you can roll it on the ground. But if you are holding that leg, go ahead and try to kick the leg out and in. And of course, you don't have to lift it this high. You don't even have to pull it back that high. It doesn't even have to be in your hands. If you're down onto the ground and say you have some socks or a carpet or a rug, try to extend your leg out to get that nice stretch and bending it back in. The added benefit of holding that leg lifted is that you kind of are helping your core, you're helping to work a little bit more arms, and you're leaning back to help to find that engagement to help protect the spine, okay? All right, now from there, lower that leg down, switch it to the other side. Ankle rolls first, whether it's lifted up into your hands, or you can have it your foot down onto the ground, that works too. One direction and the next. And then reaching the leg out and in. Ooh, this side feels way tighter. Okay, so this is another like added benefit of not only Pilates, but just movement in general is when you're moving from one side to the next, you can also feel a difference of like, oh man, this side is tighter, it feels heavier, whatever kind of adjective that you want to feel within your body, or not that you want to, but what do you notice within your body? And that's when you can start to, again, move through your daily activities with a little bit more perception, a little bit more knowledge. All right, so we're going to take that pillow back between the hands, doing more upper body work. So mostly just upper body to start with. So with that pillow, well, here's my little sunflower. I'm just going to make it more solid. So with that pillow between the hands, I want you to start to like squeeze in, just like we were doing between our thighs. So squeezing in on that pillow and then pushing forward and back in. So you're trying to clasp the hands together, make that pillow waistline as skinny as possible and reaching out and pulling in. And remember, this is like we're moving through quicksand. So it's not just like you're like, pushing forward and back, but instead you're pushing something away from you and then pulling it back into you. 3 more away to where our arms are going to stay long. Into, inhale, pull it back in, and then hold those arms out long. From there, take an inhale, and then as you exhale, lift the arms up overhead. Inhale, lower back down in front of the heart. Be very slow and intentional with this one. And I'm going to explain this. We're here for 10, so here's number 9. As you lower and lift, what we want to look out for is that the shoulders aren't coming up by the ears. So keeping the shoulders down by the ears is where we keep that tension out of the neck, out of the shoulders. The other thing I want you to watch for is that your ribs are not popping forward and we're not putting any weight into our lower back. So the way that you do that is you control that belly button, pulling it in, pulling those ribs in like somebody's just got a tight belt around your waistline. As you lift those arms up on your exhale, inhale, lower back down. Exhale and lift. Inhale and lower. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're not here like moving around with the spine. That's what we don't want. We want to keep everything nice, strong, and stable. 2 more. And then on that last one, can you hold your arms up? It doesn't have to be all the way up overhead. So for me, before my ribs start to pop, that's like right here. Then we're going to rotate towards the left side and then inhale back towards center. Exhale, rotate to the right, and then inhale back towards center. If holding that pillow up overhead, and I know it's like it's a pillow, like why is this so heavy now? If holding it up overhead is a little too heavy, bring that pillow across the chest and rotate from side to side. We got 3 more each way. Are you still squeezing that pillow? We got 2 more each way. Are you still keeping those shoulders down? We got 1 more to the right and then 1 more to the left, making sure that those arms aren't the only ones moving from side to side, but that it's the whole body rotating from side to side. Go ahead and place that pillow down. Give yourself a couple of shoulder rolls up, back, and down, up, back, and down, and then reverse directions. Go up, forward, down, back, up, forward, down, back. All right, so we've got 2 more variations here using the upper body strength. So from there, the further your arms are away from another little tip for life, the further your arms are away from the chest, the heavier the object will seem. Okay, so it's kind of like your rear view or your side mirrors. The heavier or the further away your object is, the heavier it becomes. So if it starts to feel too heavy, you bring it closer into the chest to make it easier. From here, it's like we're driving a bus. So you're going to rotate your arms around the pillow to twist it from right to left, all while still keeping the body nice, tall, long, and strong. So can you try to lift taller? Can you try to pull those shoulders down away from the ears? You got 5 more each side. 4, 3, 2, and then holding those arms out in front of you or closer to the chest if you want. From there, we now add rotation. So remember, our spine is like the carousel pole. You want to rotate everything around the spine, and it's kind of like if you were holding like a baby who just pooped his pants, and you're holding him out in front of you for like you don't want to even touch that. Okay. Exhaling as you twist, inhaling as you come back center. 4 more each side. Reminding you that the closer the pillow is towards the heart, the more accessible this movement may become. Last 2 each side. And really reminding you that the pillow, you want to keep it in front of the heart. We're not just like rotating the arms side to side. Last 1 to the right. And then bring it back center, then go to the left. And bring it back center. All right, now from there, pull that pillow back in towards the heart. It's like a combo move. So we push the hands together, make that pillow nice and skinny. So then from there, after you push, then push it away. Pull back in and undo that push. I guess clap the hands. There we go. How about that? Clap the hands, push the pillow, pull back in, unclap. Push, push, pull, open. Clap, push, pull, open. Yeah, so now we start to get into, okay, we're layering in the movements. We're feeling that, yeah, we're working the upper body here, but can you still feel the core working to sit us up nice and tall? Let's add on 1 more layer here for 4 more reps. So you're going to clap the hands together, push the pillow out, lift the pillow up, and then bring it all back in the same way that it came. Lower, pull back in, unclap the hands. 3 more times. Clap, push, lift, lower, pull, unclap. Good. 2 more. Reach, lift, lower, pull, open. Last 1. Clap, push, reach overhead, lower, pull back in, and unclap. Go ahead and take that pillow now and like really scrunch it down and get it all the way, try to get under the rib cage if you can. So if you can pull yourself away and then over that pillow, this is a great way to help open up that space in the lower back. If you lower down over those legs, as long as this doesn't feel like uncomfortable in any sort of way. Of course, if you are pregnant, please avoid this. And letting the head just dangle heavy. Maybe give it a soft shake from yes to no, or rolling the head around. And notice how when you breathe in deeply, one more big breath in, it kind of pulls you away from the pillow. And then as you exhale, it kind of lowers you down back into the pillow. And then placing the hands onto the knees, slowly stack the spine tall, lifting one bone up at a time. All right, and then placing that pillow now back between the thighs, okay? So getting into our lower body work here, try to make that pillow like as much, giving yourself as much resistance as you can. So with these adductions, we're going to do this for 12 times to exhale and pull those knees together. Inhale, bring it back center, like open back to where you started. Try for 3 more, using that breath to exhale, squeeze, just like we did when we warmed up. So 4. If you want to start to use the hands, or if your shoulders still feel like they're ready for more, try these last 6 reps by squeezing the legs together and reaching the arms up, and then lowering them back down as you open the legs and inhale. Exhale to lift, inhale to lower. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. Last 3. Imagine that the top of your head is also lifting up and away while the shoulders stay down. 2. And now hold the arms out to the side. If you need to, cross the arms as a modification. Otherwise, still working the shoulders here. Exhale and twist like a sprinkler towards the right. Inhale, come back center, and exhale, twist to the left. Inhale as we come back center. We do that 3 more times each side, 4 total. And making sure that our arms just aren't the ones that are moving from side to side, but that we are twisting the belly button, the heart, the gaze, everything on the front of the body to the right, and then twisting everything to the left. 1 more time. Moving through quicksand. We want to look like we're really not forcing it, but really working against it instead of like a washing machine, back and forth. Okay. From there, we take the hands down by the side, give your shoulders a little rock and roll or forward and back. And now we get into the ankles, okay? So these are going to take, yes, the ankle movements here, but it does take a little bit of coordination as we go through these movements. So still squeezing the pillow together. I want you to start, after you're done lifting these both together in 3. We're going to start single leg 2. Just the right side, 1, lift and lowers. Okay, so now as you're lifting and lowering for 6 more, we're doing 8 total of these. 5, I want you to think about your shoestrings being pulled forward. 3, 2, and 1. Switch to the left side, lifting and lowering. And that's when it starts to get a little tricky, because then the right side is like, but I was doing this. I know how to do it. No, stay still. 4 more on this left side. Then we're going to start to alternate one leg and then the other, okay? In 3, 2, and 1, okay? But first, we're going to take that pillow down underneath of our feet, okay? So now we not only have a little bit of unstable surface underneath of us, but now we've also kind of got something to push into and away from, okay? So we're making line. As you're lifting one heel up, the other heel pushes down into that pillow, okay? As that other heel goes down, the other heel starts to come up, okay? So now as you're alternating from one side to the next, hands can stay out by the side, maybe hugging underneath of your chair. But really what we're trying to focus on is that the body isn't moving from side to side as you lift and lower, one leg in the next. We find that stability from the core. Maybe even put your hands there on your core so that you can feel the obliques working with you, okay? If you want to take this one step further, Pilates is like onions. These are all layers. These are optional. If you want to take it one step further, lift the whole foot off of the pillow and then alternating, lifting the other foot off of the pillow, Okay. Now what we're looking for is that the body isn't moving back and forth, okay, to try to just lift the leg, but can you think about lifting the leg with those suspenders between your hips and your ribs, lifting the leg that way as the other leg pushes down heavy into that pillow as you lift the other leg. Okay, we got 2 more on the right and the left. 1 more on the right and then on the left. All right, take a little bit of a break. Your right leg comes off to the side of the pillow. And if you have like carpets, or even, well, if you have carpets, sliding your foot along that carpet maybe may feel best. Or if your carpet is slippery enough to where your pillow under your foot can slide back and forth, that may be an option for you as well. That's not a good example. So do as I say, not as I do. So left leg is just going to stay on the pillow. You're just stretching that leg out and in, allowing this to be a chance for you to maybe feel how long that leg can get and how much of a stretch you can gain. You can try that 3 more times. And then final one. And then switching to the other side. So now your left leg goes out and in, reaching and pulling. So when we're doing these movements, if you can focus on the breath of the movement being the exhale during the hardest part, so that hardest movement or the most difficult, challenging movement can be your exhale for you to connect deeper to your core, that's, again, like another tip or trick that you can learn from Pilates. All right, so now bringing both feet back onto the pillow, same movements as before. You are either heel lifting, we're still alternating, or you're bringing the whole foot and leg up off of the pillow, up towards the chest. But now we add the upper body to the party, okay? So crossing the arms across the chest. You can also do prayer hands, genie arms. The hardest is going to be out to the side, so we'll layer into that. So from here, I want you to start to lift one leg up, exhaling, inhaling to lower, exhaling the other leg up, inhaling to lower. While all of this is happening, you're trying to stay nice, tall, and straight away from the back of your chair, not moving forward or back, or even side to side, but staying tall, stable, and lifted. Okay, so now, why are the hands across the chest, Bri? We're getting to that. As the right leg lifts, can you then twist towards it? Inhale, lower the leg down, look center, and exhale, twist to the left as the left leg lifts, and lower back down. Remember, if the leg is not lifting, get something close to it. The heel lifting, maybe the foot coming away from the pillow, and that's your lift. But what we're adding with this rotation is we're wringing ourselves out like a wet towel and using the core to kind of like corkscrew our way into this motion. Give me one more on the left. And then bring it back center. Place those hands onto the knees, cat and cow through the spine. Okay, so now bringing the feet wider. They're not going to be on the pillow, just leave it right where it is. Bringing the feet wider. And then this time, either bringing the hands, if that felt good, across the chest, and you want to go a little more challenging, arms out to the side, okay? So now, starting with the rotation, then we'll add the heel lift and lower. Exhaling to twist to the right, inhale to come back center, and then exhale again to the left. Inhale, center. So the tricky thing, the reason why the arms long is more challenging is because a lot of the times, people will just swing the arms around. We want to make sure that they are like as far away from each other as they can stay and remain. There's energy zapping out from your fingertips. You're trying to reach those fingertips away from each other. But now, as you rotate to the right, can you start to lift your right heel? Inhale, bring it back center, lower the heel. Exhale, twist to the left and lift your left heel. Whew. As you're continuing to alternate one side and the next, maybe you're asking yourself, like, why is this so much harder? If it's not, connect to the movement, feel the rotation happening. But the reason why this is harder on the obliques is because we have a wider stance with the legs, okay? It challenges more of the side body. Last one to the right. Inhale, center, and then last one to the left. And then take your hands down onto your knees, like you're about to like talk to a little kid and like get down to their level. and dropping your right shoulder down to the earth and looking to the left. So you're kind of pushing your right knee away from you and looking over your left shoulder, then coming back up to look center, exhaling to rotate to the right as you drop your left shoulder down. This is a great, kind of passive way to rotate through the spine. So if you wake up, do that one more time each side. Waking up in the morning and your low back is kind of stiff, this can be like a great way to kind of wring it out. One more time to the right. And then lifting back up. Okay, so now we're going to pick up that pillow, bring it back between the thighs here, working on our quads. So we have two sets of muscles on the front and the back of our legs. So the quads, or 4 of those muscles on the front. We also have hamstrings on the back. So right now we're going to be working the quads on the front by extending or straightening the leg. So by holding that pillow between the thighs, you're working your inner thighs, your adductors, which are great for balance. So just by holding this pillow here, you're working on your balance and strength. By holding and squeezing and then extending the leg, it's like 2 birds, 1 stone. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, so as you lower the leg down, that's your inhale. So we start here with your inhale, spine tall, head lifted, shoulders drop down. And as you exhale, like there's a puppet string pulling the toes up towards the ceiling, straightening the leg, and then lowering back down. Okay, so that was your exhale. Exhaling to lift that leg straight out in front of you, and then inhaling to bring it back underneath of you. As you're continuing to straighten and bend, it does not have to come up this high, okay? You can bring it out, like you may even want to just slide the leg out and pull it back in, because we've been practicing that. But can you do it with this extra squeeze of the pillow for 2 more, and then 1 more? Okay, and then switch it to the left side. So now that left foot and toe, they've got that puppet string attached to it, kicking that leg out in front of you, still trying to hug those knees in as close as you can to each other while still maintaining that tall, lifted spine. A lot of the times what you may feel happen within the body, if you're starting to get tired, 4 more, is that this starts to happen. You start to like slouch through, and then that's compromising the spine. So if you can stay lifted for these last 2 and kick that leg out, imagine that string, that puppet string that's pulling the toes up, is pulling from the core and then lowering that leg back down. From there, give the legs a little rest if you need to, maybe windshield wiper them side to side. Okay, we're adding on or we're layering in. Okay. So when you're ready, you're going to place that pillow back between the legs, working on that extension of the knee. So you're going to squeeze in using those adductors. You're going to extend the leg out in front of you. And then if you can keep it lifted or drag it onto the ground, open and close the leg out and in for 8 times total. So here's 6 more. 5, stay lifted and tall. If you need to, place the hands underneath of the chair for 3, 2, and 1. Bend that right knee in. Keep yourself where you are. Straighten that left leg out as far as you can, as high as you can, and then opening out and in for 6 more. Imagine that the midline or the waistline of your body is also getting tinier as that foot pulls out in front of you. Ooh, that quad is getting a cramp. Last 1. Oh, that was not the goal, but if that happens, like just know that that's okay. That's the muscle working. If you need to, you can kind of like put a little extra weight into the heel of your palms and like give your quads a little massage there. Okay. Nice job, you guys. Okay, so now taking that pillow on top of the thigh, right hand. And from here, we're adding a little bit of resistance on top of just that right thigh. Okay, so with your hand, it's working the tricep or the back of your arm here as you try to like push that pillow down into your thigh, and then letting that pillow rebound you back up into that bent elbow position. Exhale to press, inhale to lift. Exhale, press, and inhale, lift. Okay, and so this is where, like, depending on what type of pillow you have, I'm going to need to bring mine a little closer because my pillow doesn't give me the kind of resistance that maybe, like, I want to feel. So if you need a little stronger resistance, bringing that pillow closer towards you and then really trying to drive it into the thigh, you might feel a little stronger contraction from the triceps. Okay, if you're further out, you won't have as much of range to press down, okay? So this hinge of the arm is going to be a little less than this hinge of the arm to work those muscles. Switch it over to the other side and try to feel any sort of difference from right side to left side. So keeping that elbow hugged in towards the chest or towards the side. We're going for 10. So after you've gotten your 10, or maybe if you want to just keep going, like it's not like you're going to, I mean, you may overdo it, but you know your body best, okay? This is another great thing about taking these classes is that you learn something each time you come to these classes. You learn something new about yourself, about your body, maybe about the breath or about even your anatomy, okay? About 3 more. 2. Maybe about your pillows, if you need extra pillows. Okay, last one. After you bring that pillow now back to your right side, you can take your left hand onto that pillow. Okay, so now left hand, right thigh. Reach your right arm out in front of you, and as you are exhaling to push that pillow down, you're also exhaling to open that right arm back behind you. Inhale, lift away from that pillow, reach back forward, and exhale to bring the arm back, to push the left hand down, to keep the leg still, and to bring it back center. 6 more, 8 total with these twists. Inhaling to reach. Last 5. Okay, embrace your inner Vanna White. You've got letters off to the side of you. You're showing them off. We're feeling maybe a stretch through the front of your chest, as well as that strong oblique connection to the sides of your body. Last 2. And final 1. Alrighty, now as you bring it forward, now I want you to think of like your inner archer pulling that arm back as you press the pillow down. So you're pulling the elbow back and then reaching back behind you. Okay, there is a difference with what we just did. You're pulling that hand back to the chest and then punching it forward. Okay, so as you pull that elbow back, try to pull it back as far as you can, and then reach that arm back behind you, just connecting the dots from shoulder to elbow to wrist, and then disconnecting the dots, bringing that hand back to the chest, and then reaching forward. So what is the difference here? From the twist that we did before to the twist that we're doing now, this is called an isometric hold. So when you pull that elbow back and then hold that position and then reach your arm or your lever a little bit longer, you're challenging those muscles on the side of your body to be able to hold something away from your body. So think about like if you're carrying groceries in from the car. Last one, to pull back, to reach back, and then to bring it center. We switch to the other side. I'll finish that train of thought when we switch, when we get set up. Remember, the setup is just as important as the movement itself. So your pillow is on the left leg, right hand is on the pillow, left arm is reaching forward. These are sprinkler twists first. So as you exhale, press the pillow down, rotate to the left. Inhale, bring it center, and look forward. Exhale, rotate as you press down for 7 more, 8 total. Okay, so the difference, let me finish my thought that I was saying before, but the difference here is this is just a straight up back and forth movement, okay? We're going back into our full range of motion and forward, back to where we started. Back to see how far can we go, and forward. And let's try that 2 more times and see if you can feel a difference if you didn't feel a difference before. After this last one, what we're gonna do is pull that left elbow back, okay? So here's the difference. You pull that left elbow back, twist as far back as you can, hold that position, and then straighten the arm out away from you. Then pull that hand back in, then you rotate back towards center. Did you feel a difference? As you rotate back, hold that position. Your arm gets longer and it feels like those core muscles are working stronger, or like they're trying to hold something heavier up. So back to life application here. Give me 5 more. When you're holding something or you have to hold it further away from your body, your core should be working more to stabilize. So if we can train the core to stabilize something and it's super far out away from us, then like holding something close to us, like when you're carrying your groceries in from the car, that becomes like super easy. But that's why Pilates was created. Last one. Joseph Pilates was a very sick kid growing up. and he just wanted life to be easy. So he made Pilates, and that's where, go ahead, take a rest if you need to grab any water. But that's why it's such a great application to life of Pilates, is you can apply what you're learning here with your body, with what works, with what doesn't, and apply it to your daily activities. Alrighty, so now you're going to take that pillow behind your head. If reaching up overhead is not an option for you, just take the pillow, put it off to the side, and cross the arms across the chest. Okay, you have those options there. I'm going to demo it with the pillow behind the head. Open the legs out wide, and it's like a pendulum here. So your elbows, you want them to try to touch them onto the knees. So take an inhale to sit the spine up tall, push the head back into your pillow, and as you exhale, your right elbow goes down to your right knee. Inhale back up. Exhaling to the left, and inhaling back up. We've got 4 more each side, or 10 total, all while you're trying to keep the knees from caving in, so keep them pulled back. Instead of thinking of just the elbow going down, can you think of the other elbow coming up towards the ceiling, so that you still feel not only the strength on one side of your body, but also the length that's happening on the other side of your body. We also want to make sure that we're not like leaning forward while this is happening, but you're actually pulling back into that pillow. Last time to the right, inhale up, and then last time to the left, and then bring it back up. Whew, keep that pillow there. If the shoulders or the chest or if anything is starting to feel like, nope, I don't like this anymore, you always have to come back to the chest as an option here. Legs are still wide, pillow behind the head, pushing back into it. As you exhale and twist to the right. Inhale back center and exhale, twist to the left. And then you've got 4 more each side. Trying to pull that navel or that belly button as close in towards the spine, away from your waistband as you can. That in itself can help you to lift just a little bit taller. 2 more each way. And then last one. And 1. Alrighty, go ahead and bring that pillow down, out and off, out of the way. Let's end now with some stretches. So these last 5 minutes of class, you're going to take those wrists again, roll them out. We're going to work our way back to the center of the body, okay? So you can also take those arms out to the side, reaching them up towards the ceiling, and then back down by your side, really trying to like reach towards the ground and then pulling your head off to one side. You can give those wrists a little bit of a break, and then off to the other side. Being careful and mindful of your range of motion. And then lifting that neck up tall. Go ahead and take those fingertips down to the ground, working through your cardinals of north, south, east, and west. Fingertips down, fingertips up. And then you could even like take the fingertips in and fingertips out or up. Okay, and switch to the other side, north and south. Do a little east and west. Okay. Then rolling those shoulders out, pulling them back, down. If you still need a little bit of neck rolls, those are great to continue adding back in, just of being aware of like your body. Good. Alrighty, so now for that side body that we just like worked so hard on, the left side of or the left hand, if you want to, finding the side of your leg on your chair might be helpful for this. So it's going to come back behind you as your right arm either reaches up overhead or stays onto your chest. Up overhead is going to feel like a deeper stretch, but as your left hand slides down and grabs onto the side of your chair, you're kind of holding yourself up here. If, say, you were on a couch, then go ahead and lift back up, switch to the other side. Let me just demo that real quick. Say you're on a couch, your forearm can come down onto the extra cushion there as your left arm reaches up and overhead. Okay, so now let's try that again to the other side. You can also bring the feet out wide, resting your forearm onto your thigh, and then allowing that side body on the right to open up. That's good, nice. And then bring it over to the other side. reaching up and over. Let it be more of a passive stretch for your body. All right, now from there, if your feet are wide, or make sure that your feet are wide, bring both hands down close to the ground or onto the ground there. Remember what it felt like to have the pillow right under the belly. Imagine that you're inhaling, pulling yourself away from that pillow. And then as you exhale, let yourself hang a little deeper towards the ground. And then as you roll and stack the spine up tall, go ahead, move from one tailbone to bone to the top of the head as the other. Alrighty, so now taking the left hand to the outside of your right thigh, your right hand can come to the back of your chair. If you have a back of your chair, grab onto that. And lifting yourself up on your inhale, exhaling to twist and look to the right or even behind the right shoulder. Okay, so we did a lot of twists today. We're going to make sure that the spine is feeling good. We are only as young as our spine is flexible, as Joseph Pilates used to say. Go ahead and switch it to the other side, to the left. And of course, like if holding this position doesn't feel like very good, moving through these stretches can also be just as beneficial, but holding them is just as good. All right, coming back up, center, pulling one knee in towards the chest, giving that ankle a little bit of a roll in one direction and then the next. And then taking that ankle and crossing it over on top of the left thigh. If this is not an option, you can always take your left thigh out in front of you to bring it a little closer to the ground. Just we want to make sure that we're not hyperextending or straightening the leg out completely. So always like a slight bend in your knee is necessary. You can lean forward into or onto that right leg. Just make sure that the toes of the right foot are pulled up towards you. And where you want to be feeling this is kind of on the outside of your booty cheek, your gluteus maximus. Okay, very big, important muscle from sitting to standing. So I'm going to take that over to the other side, pulling that left knee in towards the chest if you can, giving yourself some ankle rolls in one direction and the next. And then taking that foot or ankle on top of the right thigh and then leaning into it, maybe noticing any difference from one side to the next. Maybe noticing if any difference or change happens in the breath. My left side is always my tighter side, so like I always have to bring more awareness to my breath, that I'm not holding it or taking shallow breaths, that I have to like consciously breathe deeper to make sure that my body does open up into these positions. Whew, okay, go ahead and bring it back up. From there, take those legs wide, turning the toes out to the side, and these are those stretches again, this time with a little added flair. So when your left shoulder drops down and you're looking towards the right, holding that position and maybe with your right arm reaching it back behind you or up towards the ceiling. And then taking that hand down, coming back up, exhaling. You can stay right here in this position or holding that right hand onto the thigh and then lifting that left arm up for an added chest stretch. And then bring that arm back down. Good, and then rolling your spine back up. Cat and cow through the spine as you inhale, pulling the heart forward, exhaling, rounding, and opening the back of the body. Maybe if you could imagine you're like sitting in, it's almost Halloween, so imagine you're sitting in a witch's cauldron and you are her ladle. So scraping the edges of the bowl there and rolling the spine around, feeling as if you're kind of scraping the insides of your body. Switching directions. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. 2 more times. And then last one. Alrighty. So now this last little bit of a stretch here is to help open up through the front of the hips. I'm going to show you how it can be done on the chair. If you do have the capabilities of coming up off of your chair, there's going to be an option for you as well. So if you're sitting on your chair, I'm turning to the left so that my right leg and hip, my complete hip is off of the chair. so that my left leg is out in front of me and my left hip or butt cheek is supported by that chair. So it's basically like we're in a lunge position. Like if I got up, moved the stool, like I could put it back in and we're there. Okay, you don't have to do that, but it's like we could. From there, both hands are underneath of the chair to hold on as your right leg steps back just a little bit further and really tries to push the wall behind you back even further. So what we want to watch out for is that we're not driving into the low back. You're not trying to arch through the back, but you're still trying to keep that tailbone heavy. So like I just got my tailbone super heavy and my knee had to bend. So that's totally okay if your leg's not straight. If anything, like it takes a lot of mobility to be able to straighten that leg in this position. But you should feel that front of the hip opening up from sitting here in class. It's always a great way to end. Reaching the right arm up towards the ceiling and then reaching over the chair, over the other edge of the chair to the left is another awesome, great way to open the front and the side of the body together. Bring yourself back up and rotate around to the other side. Okay, so on the other side, you have that option here. If you're standing, you can push your hands against a wall. You can come into a lunge position and making sure that your hip is driving down and forward. So imagine that there's just like a big boulder here and you're trying to push it forward with your hips. Then reaching that left arm up and to the right. And you can totally use your chair as a little bit of like a kickstand. Okay? So that's if you're standing. Totally don't have to stand. But maybe this is something that you work up to with your balance. Okay? Alrighty, you guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed the class. It was so good seeing everyone again, especially all the repeats. I hope you enjoyed this class. Please review this when it gets put onto YouTube. And I appreciate every single one of you. I hope you guys enjoyed the class. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I look forward to seeing you again next month.